Awesome. All right, are we in the right view here? Okay. Taking a peek at who's on so far. Good. Hopefully we'll have several more jump on with us. Let's go ahead and open up with some prayer and then jump right in. Dear Lord, thank you so much for the people in this circle and for bringing together these diamonds and the teams that we have with us. This has just been a really, really special team effort here, and I'm just so very thankful for the people that are putting in this hard work here in this group with us. Yes, to earn Leaders Retreat, and yes, to reach our individual goals, but also, God, the process is so refining, and we thank you so much for the refining work that you're doing in each of us throughout this group and throughout this whole Plexus journey. Be with us tonight as we coach and as we train and as we grow together. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, Brenda, you can give me a yes or no nod. Do you want to say your part first, or do you want me to go first? Okay.
I can do it really fast because it's just really short, but it's a thought I had this week. Just thinking about reflecting on the 21 days and the fact that we did this and how that might have impacted you. So I want you to be honest with yourselves. If we would not have challenged you with the 21 hard, what would your November be looking like at this point? When I really thought about that for myself, I was like, whoa, you know, we need these types of things to keep us focused sometimes. And I know in the beginning, some of you were like, whoa, can I do this? And I just want to say again to all of you, I'm so proud of those of you who have stuck it out. I loved Megan's post the other day that she put about action, how that is kind of the key to everything. And I've always said action cures everything. Early on in my journey, well, I want to say somewhere in my first couple of years, I was on a training with my upline for a team. And I said, you know what? One thing I figured out through my experience when I feel stuck or low, I just get into activity. And I said, I think action is just kind of the answer for everything. And then I don't know, I said the quote, action cures everything. And that really stuck. Everybody kind of kept repeating that, like they made it my quote. And later I saw it written somewhere on the internet. And I'm like, that wasn't my original quote. That is kind of a known fact with working a business like we're doing, that it does for everything. So I just want to say I'm super proud of you guys, and think about it. If you would not be doing this, what would your November look like? And challenge yourself. Looks like someone's not muted. Challenge yourself with that every month. Am I going to get into action this month? Like I did with November, like I did in October, and don't let yourself ever drop out of that action. So that's all I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you. So I'm kind of taking the helm on tonight. Last week was a really crazy busy week, and I asked for a smaller role in our call. So tonight I've got some stuff to share, and I'm going to be coaching. So I went on a retreat this past weekend. It was a diamonds retreat for all the diamonds under Tamara Holloway. And then I combined the weekend with a retreat for the leaders on my team. And it was my 1,000-point club retreat. So it was people on my team that have 1,000 points, but it was also people on my team that have grown their points by 75% or more in the second half of 2021. So there may not be at 1,000 points yet, but they are really, really doing the work to be growing. And it was just a fantastic group, and the Lord was really moving and working. So I wanted to talk about kind of my takeaways from both of those things with y'all. It's just so good. So we're going to try to blitz through that, and I'll probably be moving kind of quickly. I will keep an eye on the chat, of course, but it won't be nearly enough time to dive into it at the depth, obviously, that we dove into it over the retreat. So I fully expect us to discuss a lot of this in our group, in our threads, in our comments throughout the coming week. The first little set of things I took away from a training with Rhonda Shaw. She's a diamond. She lives in Northwest Arkansas, and she came to train. And it had to do with passivity. So I'm going to just kind of read some things to you all. If the devil can get you to be passive in any area, he is winning there. He has so many isms for passivity that sound really good and trendy, like going with the flow, things like that. But passivity is an invitation for attack. So she challenged us to consider, in what ways have I adopted a level of passivity in my business? How passive have I become in sharing my story, my message? And what areas am I avoiding? And we're a month and a half in to this partnership, this group between these three teams. And these are questions we've been challenging you a lot with. These are questions I'm constantly asking myself and my team. What have I been avoiding? What have I been resisting? But I was really, kind of convicted by the question, in what ways have I adopted a level of passivity? How have I become passive in sharing my story and my message? Especially because it's true, right? That any area of my life where I choose to just kind of see what happens, just kind of let it be what it's going to be, it's true. It is an open door for attack from the enemy. Another thing that really stuck out to me from Rhonda's talk, she said, so often the reason we see people walk away, even if they've worked really hard in their Plexus business up to a certain point, it's because they reach a level where they think they will have to sacrifice something they're not willing to sacrifice in order to keep moving forward. And they run the other direction. Instead of what we should do, which is pause, take a breath, evaluate how we can make this work within our values without sacrificing those non-negotiables, we run away and become passive. And then she gave this analogy of a marriage, and it was so spot on. So most of us, when we started our Plexus journey, we had this amazing health transformation, or we saw our friends have amazing health transformations, or we earned a big paycheck or whatever. And we were just filled with passion to tell the world. And the business was kind of in that honeymoon phase. And just like in a marriage, when that honeymoon phase is kind of over, or that passion has kind of worn off, we're faced with a defining moment. And it is, do I want a divorce? Or do I want to make this relationship work? And so maybe you have hit a point like that in your Plexus journey. I'll confess that I have, and it was about a year after going diamond, but I also see this a lot with my team. And maybe if you have a larger team, you've seen this too, and you have people going, well, the passion is gone, or the passion is fizzled a little bit, and now I guess I want a divorce from Plexus, instead of pausing, evaluating, and asking, how am I going to make this relationship work? So we've heard a lot from you guys about burnout throughout the last month and a half, and we talked a lot about that at this retreat. So we're going to talk about it a little here in the next few minutes. But another thing Rhonda said is, guys, there will always be good reasons not to build a Plexus business. We've all got them. I've got 5 children and a husband in residency who is only home 1 day a week, and twice a week he's home after the kids' bedtime, and on and on and on and on and on. Maybe your own sister attacked you when you went diamond. We've all got good reasons not to build a Plexus business. Do not come into agreement with them as an anthem for passivity. That's my challenge to y'all. That's Rhonda's challenge to us. Let me pass a few things along to you that Becky Page taught us about burnout. This was really cool and eye-opening to me. Becky Page is another phenomenal diamond who lives in Northwest Arkansas. And she gave me a different perspective on burnout. She said, God allows burnout to usher in fresh growth or change that wouldn't have been possible without the burn. And if you're familiar at all with forestry or farming, you all know that oftentimes burning is strategic, to burn away overgrowth, to burn away crowded trees or crowded, plant life, and it's able to usher in new growth. So she challenged us on that God actually allows burnout to usher in new growth. that is needed. And so what we need to ask ourselves when we look back and reflect on seasons of burnout, or maybe you're in a season of burnout right now, what needs to burn off in my life? What needs to burn off in my life? I'll throw a few things out there. See if any of these resonate with you and you can jot them down. Self-sufficiency, resentment, fear, hopelessness, unforgiveness, secrets, control, self-sabotage, distraction, overfunctioning, selfishness, laziness. There's probably a million more we could name, and you could probably pick some specific to your business too, but what needs to burn off? Why is God allowing this season of burnout, and what needs to burn off? And what behaviors are missing? Now, I mean, I'm blazing through. I had to really take some time to dig into these questions. So take all the time you need to go through those, but I felt like that was really powerful. Okay, this next little piece, also very, very cool. If you have your phone or your Bible and you can look up Romans 11:29, go ahead and look it up. I will read it to you. But it has to do with the uniqueness of our gifts and our personality and our purpose in our business. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we dove into. But if you're at Romans 11:29, it says God's gifts and his call are irrevocable. God's gifts and his call are irrevocable. I challenged my team to get crystal clear on your unique gifts that God has given you that are irrevocable. You'll kind of know them by just what lights you up. Like I just jotted down notes of what fires me up, and it was having a beautiful, clean home, discipling my children, going on dates and vacations, getting all glammed up, eating and cooking amazing food. Like that's a few examples for me. Workouts. Think about what fires you up and let that point you to your irrevocable gifts, those things that have just always been a part of you. It's really important to know those, because if you look out there in a sea of social marketers, there's a lot of cookie cutter. And there's a lot of stuff that just kind of looks all the same. And the only way that you're going to really complete or fulfill your purpose that God has given you is to contrast. In a sea of the same, you must contrast. And that means you've got to figure out what makes me me and double down on it. So I'm going to challenge you to think about, one, your core values. And maybe you've done some of that work before. I know we've talked about core values in several team settings, retreat settings, but think about your core values. And I want to challenge you, don't jump right to like faith, family. Some things everybody highly, highly, highly values. So I want you to think about like unique to you, things that you uniquely highly value. I'll go ahead and give you my examples. My number one core value is truth. Truth, godly wisdom. That's kind of my number one. My number two core value is future generations. My number three is gratitude. My number four, beauty. Not just physical beauty, but literally anything that can be beautiful, I feel like it should be. And number five is focus, efficiency, diligence, something in that realm. Now, if you need like ideas, you can Google, they have like lists of 500 options for core values. It takes a little time to narrow it down, but it's worth it. The next thing I was challenged to think about, and I also challenged my team to think about, is your tone. So your tone is the personality behind the message that you bring out there. So I may really value truth, and Megan may really value truth, but we have two very different tones in the personality of how we speak and how we deliver our message. And it's really important that you carry that tone everywhere you show up. So if you're kind of a silly, lighthearted person, that silliness is going to show up even if you're standing up training at Super Saturday. If you've heard Jen Leith give a presentation, and she probably cracks a few jokes even if she's giving a eulogy. So that tone needs to be consistent, because if you're catering your tone to situation, you just begin to blend into the background. We really want to show up as as more me than I've ever been. So, Roseanne, that's good. If you're a silly person, I want you to start injecting that into every post, every reach out, every call that you do, every training, because that's going to set you apart from the crowd. So I wrote down, I really thought about this hard. And I thought, okay, I think my tone is classy, witty, and exhortative. That's what I came up with. And Chris was like, I agree. So I think we're spot on there. Anyway, as you come up with those things, I think you're going to be able to really, really get clear on your purpose. And that's where the magic is going to happen. And that is going to show up in all your posting and all of your reaching out, everything that you do in this business. It's going to be so fueled by your purpose. And I'm seeing it in my team, and we've only been back for like 2 days. I'm seeing them show up fueled by their purpose, and it's super, super cool. And that leads me to this. We had such a phenomenal bonding time together on this retreat. We all came away so fired up to go out and reach out to business partners for the community, for the circle, to invite them into this circle. And I thought, holy cow, we talk about how people need the health. We talk about how people need the money. But my people came home this week reaching out the most heartfelt voice messages they've probably ever sent, because they were just wanting to invite people into this circle. So that's a little plug for getting together with your team, getting together and doing retreats, finding the people that are like-minded in purpose, like-minded in values, those people on your dream team or list. Get them on your team. Build a community that people cannot resist being a part of. And then I'll give you this last little thing before we start coaching. I just thought it was funny. It's totally random. It doesn't even really fit into any of these other points. But Rhonda said, I have sat in a couple of diamond meetings, and there's a lot of opinionated, headstrong people in that room. She said, diamonds are headstrong, opinionated people. If we want diamonds on our teams, we need to get comfortable being in a room with headstrong, opinionated people. So maybe that speaks to some of you. Maybe you're a little intimidated or freaked out by headstrong, intimidated people. They're the people that get stuff done. So let's get comfortable being in a room with people like that. If you want some diamonds on your team. Okay, so I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I don't see any questions yet. So let's dive into our coaching. Is Michelle Snyder on the call? Awesome. Michelle, can you?
Here I am, yes. Hi, Carissa.
Hey, good to see you.
You
You're
too.
looking lovely tonight. I have not dressed up for the call.
I'm in my pajamas.
Oh, wow. They're fabulous.
I wasn't going to say anything, but since you mentioned it.
Yeah, I was like, guys, if I'm just working on saying yes and showing up to things, and this is what it looks like in this season. So, well, tell us a little bit about you and where you're at in Plexus right now.
Okay, I'm a retired school teacher. I retired in 2014 and was looking forward to a nice, easy, calm rest of my life.
Okay, 2019. Okay.
Until God dropped Plexus into my lap in 2018.
Okay.
And my husband had a miraculous turnaround. He was healed by God in 11 months after starting Plexus. And it was a miracle, bona fide miracle. And people asked us about it and wanted to know what this stuff was, because he'd been so sick. He was just getting ready to plan a surgery to have his colon taken out and be hooked to a bag the rest of his life.
Oh my.
And so people watched this, and they saw.
Yeah.
And they saw what happened to him. And so I was thrown into a business that I didn't want to do. Because when people come to you and say, what happened? You tell them, and before I knew it, people were signing up, and that was almost 3.5 years ago. I'm Ruby now, and I'm hovering halfway between Ruby and senior Ruby. And so I go up a little bit and then I go down a little bit. And so that's kind of where I am. I haven't had a lot of growth once I reached midway between.
Yeah.
And
Can
have
I ask, at what point, if it even happened, did you shift from not wanting the business to, I mean, did you eventually start wanting the business?
I did, yes, when the money started rolling in.
Uh-huh.
One of the first things we were able to do was take 4 of our grandchildren to Disneyland,
Okay.
which we would not have been able to do otherwise.
Wow.
So I didn't spend the money. I didn't even check the money. I just was busy helping people and didn't pay any attention to how much had come in.
Yeah.
And I had also won, I don't know if you remember this, Brenda, but I won $1,000. I don't remember what it was. I turned in a video and I won $1,000 within the first, I think it was in October, and I signed up in June, so I mean, I just got the bug. And I'm a people person anyway, and I'm a women's ministry leader. And so I had a lot of women already that trusted me. And it just is something that God did. He just literally plunged me into it. And I've found my niche. I'm quite happy there now.
Yeah.
And because I'm doing what I love to do anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm helping people, ministering body, soul, and spirit. They all go together.
Yeah.
And so I'm where I want to be.
Yeah.
And having a really good time.
It is. It's such a great job.
It is.
You said you feel like you've kind of stalled out in
Yes.
writing.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is?
I think I'm to the point now where I need to have some good, strong business builders.
Yeah.
And I have no trouble bringing people in. I've got level ones are an easy thing for me to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need a lot of support in helping my team become silver. I have a gold and I have a few silvers, but I don't have any really. I've got some hard workers, but then I also have some who say they want to work and aren't working.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess one of my challenges is bringing them along. We talk about, when we're talking about the products with people, we talk about getting crickets. And sometimes I get crickets from a lot of my business people who are on my team who said they want to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm awkward. I feel really awkward about, okay, they said they wanted to work. I'm putting this stuff out there. There's nothing coming back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Should I stop? Should I remove them from the group? Do I just keep going? Do I bother them about it? Do I, how assertive should I be in this situation? So that's one of my challenges.
Yeah.
In not knowing quite how to handle that, because I feel like it has to come from within, it has to be intrinsic, I think.
I tend toward that too. I tend to believe that people do what they truly want to do and not what they say they want to do. So I agree with you a little bit there. But I would also say sometimes people don't know what is holding them back. And they do have the dream and they do want the thing, but they need help from an emotionally mature person to uncover what is holding them back, which essentially is what the Goffs and Brenda and I are doing in this coaching. So do you mostly tell them what to do, or do you work with them on what could be going on in their mindset that's kind of paralyzing them?
It's more of the latter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tell them what to do. I'm not a very good boss. I can boss middle schoolers really well.
Okay, so you're not giving them like, here, do these IPAs or jump on this power hour, and they don't do it. You're actually just trying to.
I'm inviting them, but I don't tell them what to do. I
Yeah,
say
no.
this,
I mean,
this is available, and I just say it's available,
Okay.
but I don't often get much response for what is available.
Gotcha. Okay. So I think then that if you get curious and you say, Michelle, I know you said you wanted to work the business, but I can tell that you're hesitant to actually step in, dive into the pool. Can you help me understand a little more about why? And see what they say. Sometimes to say, are there any fears that you have? Just start to kind of ask some curious questions and get in there with them. I would not completely abandon, I'm big on find business builders, which I want to touch on with you next. Find business builders. Not necessarily like Justin says, trying to turn your product buyers into business builders. That can feel really frustrating and fruitless sometimes. But there are some hidden gems among your product buyers, and especially if they've told you they want the business, then I would take the time to get curious with them and say, do you think there's something that's holding you back? And dig a little, and sometimes they'll say, I don't know. I mean, I really want to. I'm just too busy. Too busy means it's really easy to find everything else to do and not this. So there's some reason this is not, they want it, but it's not high on their priority list. So that's not the answer. You just kind of have to go, but really, why? But really, why? And even take it to a certain activity. We talked about making your first post. Is there a reason you haven't done that yet? Go ahead and get curious with them. But I was also going to talk to you about your actually recruiting, prospecting, looking for, when you think about recruiting, think about people who like scout the high schools to recruit players for their college teams. They're like traveling the country looking for the best of the best to bring to their school. So when you hear the word recruiting, that's what I'm talking about. That can be hard for someone who stumbled into the business backwards, because you just started off using the products, your husband had a great experience, and everybody came to you. And so have you felt like throughout the coaching that you've gotten some interesting, helpful tips on actually getting out there and finding business builders?
No, I don't. Where do I look to find some information on that? Because who I tend to attract, I do attract the younger women, but the majority of the women I have are my age or, within 10 years, one side or the other.
Okay.
A lot of them are not tech savvy. Which requires a lot of time. I mean, a lot of time. I have thought about hiring a tech, what do you call them, a tech support person, just to send to my people, because I spend way too much time helping people with tech issues that keeps me from doing the important work.
Kind of a time suck.
So I've been really praying that, I would be able to reach out to the younger women who are energetic, mamas at home who don't want to go to work. I've been doing a lot more business posting.
Good. So you
recently
picked up in here. Yeah.
That's really, was the turning point, was being a part of this group.
Good.
That got me started doing more of that.
Good.
And I hope to gather some jewel to bees from that. But when
you're looking for your training call or video to listen to each day, have you kind of just searched on YouTube, like how to find business builders, that kind of?
Oh, no, I haven't.
So if you're looking at, reputable diamonds, like well-known diamonds, and just searching for plexus, how to find runners, how to find business goals. That could probably continue to drip other little tips on you, but the posting is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, it's so amazing how powerful it is that whatever was modeled to us or whatever was our experience, we kind of just duplicate that, you know, without even thinking about it. So again, you're not necessarily, it sounds like you're not at this point necessarily looking for people that were in your situation. It sounds to me like you're looking for people who want the business.
Right.
So have you written down your list of really specific qualities of, you know, kind of your dream potential?
You know, I did. I wrote it somewhere once, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. I mean, you can kind of keep writing on that. You might even want to just keep it on your phone or something.
Right.
With you. But mine has, and similar to my core values and stuff, like I've reread it so often that now it's just in here, you know, those qualities. But I would challenge you to think about, like, oh, you know, I'm looking for, like you said, a young mom who wants to work from home, who already knows how to use her devices and the internet.
Yes.
You know, that way you have that radar up.
Savvy. Okay.
And you can begin to ask yourself, well, who do I know and admire who does fit that criteria? And can I go stalk her on her social media and see who she's hanging out with? And start to get to know some people in that demographic.
Yes. Okay. I have people in that demographic. And some of them have reached out to me. In fact, I did a post just the other day, a business post, and one of those commented, or actually messaged me and asked about it. You know, what is this about? And I don't remember exactly my words, but whatever I said to her, she hasn't replied back. It's like she's gone away.
With her and ask her if she wants to pop on the Zoom on Thursday.
Okay. Yes. Good idea.
Just, if you have that on
and it's not even anyone I know that well, which really surprised me.
That's good. That means your posts are effective.
Yeah. Yeah, but she hasn't commented anything back. I sent her a video of mine and my husband's testimonies. Invited her to a Zoom, and it's just gone nowhere. So I don't know if she just got cold feet.
Well, you don't ever have to write that story until you know that's the case. Sometimes I can follow up and say, hey, did you get cold feet? Or hey, did I freak you out?
Okay, yeah.
I would touch back with her on Thursday evening, like early Thursday evening, and say, you know, you popped to my mind because a couple of young moms that I work with are going to get on Zoom and share their stories. And I really think that, you know, they remind me of you, and I think you'd really appreciate what they have to share. I would really be thinking over the next few days about the women in your network who fit that bill, and be trying to get them invited to that Zoom.
Okay.
And don't, you know, and even say, hey, I would so love for you to be there that I want to send you a free greens just for being my VIP guest. Like really let them know, be that college recruiter that's going to the high schools and let them know, like, I want to give you the royal treatment because I like you on my team.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yes. Good idea.
Okay, good.
Cute.
VIP gifts, said Megan and Jessica. So another question is, you know, your story is interesting because you kind of, it sounds like a lot of the business kind of fell in your lap, a lot of the success.
Yes.
And it sounds like then you turned around and began working. But do you feel like you have a really powerful why at this point to keep moving forward, like to get to Senior Ruby and Emerald?
I don't have a powerful why. I never have. And maybe that's my problem. I'm content. That's the problem. I'm content.
Yeah.
So, I
Well,
mean, it would be nice to have a car,
yes. Yeah.
Lexus, but I'm happy with the car I have. That is my problem. I have struggled with that why since day one.
Yeah. Um, sometimes sometimes our why is hiding really deep down in there. There is some reason that you built to Ruby. It doesn't happen by accident. I mean, people can go like gold by accident. I have not seen anyone go Ruby by accident. So I know you've worked for it, and there's some reason why. And it may not be the typical things. I learned pretty late in my journey that my why was that I was going to prove to myself that I could go diamond. I did not need the money. I did not need a job.
Mhm.
But dang it, I was going to do it. And honestly, my why was that I was going to prove to myself that I was going to do it. So I don't know what it is for you, but be willing to think outside the box a little bit. Say, I don't know, what got me to senior gold? What got me to Ruby? And what's I don't know, what's making you show up to all these coachings? I mean,
I really don't think it's anything material.
okay.
I truly don't. I love seeing people get better. I just do. I love watching them grow in their walk with the Lord.
Okay.
I love seeing them go from being sick to being healthy. I love seeing them go from, being a depressed, anxious person to someone who's more trusting.
Yeah,
My reward is seeing those results.
totally.
It truly is.
So I think that if you really do the work on what are my irrevocable gifts from God, what fires me up, what are my core values, you can really do the work putting a precise name on those things. I think you'll be able to piece together why he has put Plexus in your lap. You have a calling, you have a purpose, and then you have Plexus here as an assignment to steward right now. He's given it to you. And so I think if you can really figure those things out, you'll have a picture of like what your purpose is, why you're here. I heard you say healing. I mean, you didn't say healing, but I heard healing, that there's something about witnessing and playing a role in people's healing that really lights you up.
Right.
So I would say, what if you're not only touching people one by one and playing this role in their healing, but what if you are planting people like yourself all over the world who are making that happen for 200 people of their own? When I understood that got me much more excited about recruiting.
Okay.
Another thing I heard you say was, well, this is my word based on what you said, what is influence?
Uh-huh.
Because, you love to see people, did you say, have kind of a spiritual awakening, like in their relationship with God?
Yes. Yes.
So let me tell you that, like, I have 5,000 Facebook friends and who knows how many more followers. And when I want to speak up about a truth from God's word, I have a lot of people that listen.
Uh-huh.
So maybe you can dig in there a little bit on the influence and the platform that you have for the gospel. Because when you become an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond, you have that Lexus that you're like, I could take it or leave it. But other people pay attention when you have the Lexus or the Hawaii trip or the whatever, rank or title it might be. Anyway, okay, I can't possibly know, but I think that if you can start by asking yourself what truly fires me up, and don't discount anything, even the most tiny little thing, if it just makes you so happy, right?
Okay.
Like a freshly ironed, shirt or something, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
And then let that point you to what are my irrevocable gifts that are unique to me? And let that point you to why God has given you this assignment in Plexus.
Okay.
So for me, you know, I'm one reason I'm here in Plexus is because I can help other people organize their life. Like I can help people strategize for efficiency. I know that that's part of my purpose because I know that that's one of the gifts that just comes so naturally to me. That's just one example. So I'm super curious when you update the group on how this is going, like a week from now. Share with us some of the things you figure out about your gifts and your core values and what that's led you to as far as your purpose for being a part of Plexus. I think that if you can, you said it has been a big question mark this whole time, your why.
Yes.
I think
Yeah, and you've given me some good leads on things I need to think about, things that I've never thought about before.
good.
Oh, that's a good starting point.
Oh
And
yeah.
I have all these notes of everything you said.
Whoa.
I'll sort them all out, and but I feel like you've really helped me. You've helped to give me some direction.
Good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll put this into practice and message you someday and let you know what's happening.
Good. And you can update the group too.
Yeah.
But yeah, give it some time. This stuff is foundational. It
Yeah.
can't really be rushed, and it takes a while to sink in. So, Brenda and Goffs, do y'all have anything else you want to ask Michelle?
Yes. I have a couple. Just a question. When you're talking to the ones that say they want the business, but they're not showing up, or they're not. One thing you can do is remind them what they've told you. Say, hey, remember when you said you wanted to be whatever? So I think sometimes you remind them of their own goals, remind them of their own words. I mean, because all you're really doing is just reflecting back on what they told you. You're not really telling them what they have to do or what they have to think. But just remind them, like, hey, you told me back in October or whenever you wanted to be a diamond, and where are you at with that? Like, I think just what you're just kind of regurgitating what they've already told you, and so no pressure.
I have one of these who actually said, she came on and said she wanted to be a runner and just loves the products. And she was, when she came onto Plexus, she was a part of another MLM makeup company. And so I thought when she said, I want to run with you, those were her words. I thought that meant she was not going to do the other one anymore and just come, 100% over to Plexus. But she is really posting and doing all kinds of things with her makeup business. And I see those things and it just kind of
Yeah.
Would you suggest asking her about that?
Yeah.
I haven't said a word.
Yeah.
I just wonder.
Yeah. Just again, remind her of what she said. Hey, you said, remember, I mean, you want to be, it's kind of like the book we're going through, the Millionaire Networker book. You don't want to be what did it say? You want to ask questions, but you don't want to interrogate.
Right.
So I think that's something that applies here. But yeah, I think just reminding her of what she said and just where she's at with it. If she needs help, if she has any, ask questions and just find out what's going on there.
And not mention the other company, or should I? I mean, because she's obviously spending a lot of time and effort in an area where I know it's not paying as well as if she were applying the same amount of effort.
Yeah. I mean, you can bring that up. It's obvious, it's out there, you're seeing it. She's posting it on purpose. I mean, I just would remind her, you said you wanted to run with me. I see you're posting with this other company. Do you need help getting started on Plexus posts? And just see what, and just then you have to kind of take it from there. There's not a script necessarily for every secondary question. So, you have to kind of take it from there, but I would definitely bring it up. And also you mentioned something when you were talking about the things that excite you, the things you like, you're talking about people walking with the Lord. You like to see that. You like to see people grow. You like to see people get better. Like, to me, it sounds like you have a pretty big why. I mean, you love to see those things. A why doesn't necessarily have to be for us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But honestly, a why that's attached to somebody else is more powerful. We operate best when we are working for other people. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a selfish thing. It doesn't have to be a material thing. It doesn't have to be a car or a trip or anything like that.
Okay, yeah. Well, really, I mean, that is what fires me up. So that's a good point.
And and this business is the ministry opportunities that come, and the opportunities to help other people in this business with our products and our culture and all of these things is insane. The opportunities.
It is.
So
business as ministry.
It's pretty. Exactly. I was just researching today business missions. I'm like, well, why can't we just take this thing like as missionaries to even another country, and just a business from a Christian perspective? I was just thinking through that today, and then really be able to share and affect other people's lives, because Christians, people that you're talking about, they need to feel better.
Right.
Additional income. They need more time, freedom and those things. And we have those things that we can share with them. So, like I said, I've always said this, your why has to be attached to a who.
Okay.
Because we always work best when we're serving others. We feel the best. We have more energy. Because after a while of even getting all the stuff, even if you get all the accolades and all the prizes and everything else, and you're on stage and you're the only one on your team on stage, after a while, that's really boring. And because you want to share that with other people, you want other people involved, you want other people getting prizes and awards and all those things. So, I think maybe your why, I don't know, you might want to pray through that and, think through that, but you have a pretty passionate why about helping other people. And God's given us this tool that's helping people. Look what it did to your husband. Right. There's a lot of people in that space right now who are praying for something.
Exactly.
So I think I don't know.
I think a lot came out with even your clarity by just kind of verbalizing things. And sometimes it takes someone asking questions and you verbalizing just to bring that clarity to light. Like, actually, you do have a why. But I know that some people feel stressed, like, I don't have a why. And so it's like a little nagging stressor, like, I don't think I have a why. But once it's talked through, you actually find out, oh, I have a really massive why. And externally processing that with some people brought it to light. And this goes with the people that have verbalized that they want the business, but you don't see them like showing up and stuff. One thing that I think is really powerful is telling people what you see in them. I think Justin's tip on reminding them what they have verbalized to you, I think that's so, so important. And I also think if we see something in someone, even one small thing, like maybe they're just really genuine and caring for people, and just say, hey, I can see how that character quality in you would serve you so well in this business. And that is a piece that not everybody has, or whatever, I don't know how, but looking for something in them, because I feel like I'm really great at seeing the potential in people. Like, I'm like, oh my word, they're like, if they catch the vision for this, they're going to be awesome. But I don't always like get it from here out. That's how important that is, because it like prophesies blessing over this and whether they choose to walk in that or not, they know that you believe in them.
Right.
And it's like just having that bolster and that extra level of encouragement, because sometimes people just lack confidence, or they lack belief in themselves that they can do it. And so sometimes we just have to be that little sparkler of like, hey, don't forget, this is what I see in you.
Yes, I can see there'd be value in that. I taught a parenting class for almost 20 years. And that's one of the things I told the parents is, and this was with children who were in trouble with the law. And I said, you need to, if you see a good quality, I don't care how small it is, call attention to it. Because then the kid will sit up and, oh, my mom or dad thinks I'm this way. I'm going to be this way. You know, I mean, they're not going to be perfect, but by calling attention to it, it makes them they're more mindful of what the parent sees in them. And so they're more apt to change their behavior to follow, that, way of thinking. And I can see what you're saying, Megan, by taking that same concept and applying it to my team members. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I know that my sponsor told me, I don't know, a few years ago, she's like, oh, I knew when you signed up you'd be a diamond. And I was like, wow. What? I'm like, why did you never say that to me? Like, that would have helped. That would have helped me. Like,
oh, she didn't say it until you became a diamond then.
No, like it was years later, but she goes, well, I think I was afraid I would scare you, like scare you away type of thing. But and just having that conversation is good, because I've been like, wow, people need to hear stuff from us. Even if we're like, oh man, it might scare them away. Actually, why would that scare anybody away? Like, that would only be like, oh my goodness, like she sees something in me that I don't know that I see in myself.
Yes, really.
I think, so anyways, I'm just using that as an example of we need to verbalize, I think, more what we see in people and our kids. And,
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea.
I'm speaking to myself here too, because I need to be better at that.
Yeah, but that positive affirmation just brings about more positive behavior.
It's true.
Yeah, whatever you bring focus to grows bigger.
Right.
Okay, well, we are down to our last week, everybody, of 21 Hard, and I almost hate to use those terms, because I believe that this daily checklist is reasonable for somebody who wants to build all the way to emerald, sapphire, and diamond. So I don't want it to seem like, oh, okay, you heard of the people who do 75 hard, and when they finally finish, they like go on a grocery store shopping spree and they don't work out for 2 weeks and all of that. So that's not what we were going for here. We wanted this challenge to include rest and Sabbath, and for it to really force us to focus and systematize. And yes, we all know that it's a tall order as far as consistent daily activity. But hopefully it's giving you some habits that you plan on incorporating long-term, if you want to grow long-term. I think, we see this so often where we run, push, and then we burn out, and our business is just always starting and stopping. And we're really wanting to get out of that. So while you may not carry every single thing on this list forward 6 days a week, 365 days a year, be reflective as we come to the end of these 21 days about the seasons of burnout that you've had, and what needs to burn off, and what behaviors we're missing, so that this can become a long-term discipline for you. It's great if we earn leaders retreat, but most of us, that's not our real why. That's not our real purpose for being part of Plexus. It's just to earn this one, March Leaders Retreat. Okay, so let's see as many completed daily ops checklists as we can in the daily check-ins every single day. And we're especially excited to see who on day 21 has done every single day. I'm really excited to see who that's going to be. And then Megan, Brenda, and I are in conversation about what needs to come next. So keep your eyes peeled. Yet again, we are not quite ready to say goodbye to this group. So we are, very mindfully praying and strategizing over what we feel like is needed next. And we understand too that we're headed into the holiday season. Things get crazy. So bearing all of that in mind, we're trying to think about what needs to keep coming. So thank you guys so much. And keep sounding off. Like when you put your daily op in the check-in, we are loving hearing how this is going for you and what obstacles you're fighting through to make it happen and what systems you're finding work well for you. Like that, I think is half the beauty of this group, just these really strong, like-minded power partners that we've all just kind of inherited from this. So I know it encourages me. So keep it coming. All right, friends, we're going to sign off for tonight and we'll see everybody. Oh, one more thing.
I just want to say thank you to all three of you. I feel like this was very beneficial. I'm excited now to get started on it.
Good.
I feel like I have a list of assignments now to work toward. So.
Oh, and that reminded me, I was going to remind everybody that we have a couple of new Power Hour recordings in the comments of our Power Hour post. So if you need a little homework, you can pop in there and do some of those. But yeah, I'm so glad you already feel that. Go ahead, Megan.
That event on Thursday night.
Yes.
Everybody.
Why don't you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I think that the graphic kind of makes it look like it's like a business call. This is a well-rounded sharing our stories call. So it's going to have a blitzy version of our health, business, and product information. So don't feel like you can only invite like product potential, business potentials to this. You want to invite all of your retail customers, your VIPs, your existing ambassadors who've been on your team for years. Just a little plug for continuing to drip Plexus on your currently ordering people, like your happy wholesale people. I have multiple rubies and above, including several jewels, that did not start sharing Plexus till well into their Plexus journey. Like I'm talking 18 plus months, or even maybe like a couple years. So all that to say, don't feel like those people are just happy doing what they're doing. You may have some future rubies, senior rubies, emeralds, diamonds on your team that are just happily taking the products, and they need you to invite them to Thursday's call so they can have some perspective shared with them. And don't forget, potentials. Make sure that you're going through your stories. Make sure you're going through your posts. It doesn't matter if they're Plexus posts or not, but look at and see who is watching what you're putting out there. Continuing to add value. And that's something that Jordan Roddenberry encouraged me with, because I have 9 more level 1s to sign before the end of Leaders Retreat contest. And part of me is like, there's so many people. How am I going to do that? But I have to shift my mindset to, you know what? I now have 9 more people to help before the end of 2021. And God is going to bring those people to me. I have empty Post-it notes on the header of my door that I'm going to be filling with names as they get started. And so just be reminded that you have more people to help. We're not done helping people. And you never know who's praying for what we have. And so I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere with it, but for whatever reason, I heard like that.
You were talking about adding value, continuing to add value with your posts, and then look through everyone who's engaging.
Yes. So Jordan Roddenberry said, she goes, when you need to be in a high level of personal recruiting, a season of high level recruiting, she said, add more value. Figure out what you can be sharing with people to teach them something, because she goes, for example, books. She's like, you have such a resource of books, like for your kids and mom life and all the things. She goes, if people trust you to go buy a book you recommend, they'll trust you to go buy your supplements too. I'm like, okay, thanks for that. So if someone on the call needed to hear that, just remember, it's not just about making a bunch of Plexus posts. Yes, I mean, that's important, but also figure out how you can engage and add value to people. So looking forward.
One thing I've learned is when you have someone that you would like on your team or want to get to know better, engage with more, go to their stories and don't just do a reaction or a little emoji. Actually engage in a conversation, like comment on it, maybe ask a question to get something flowing. You have to, it's so intentional. So don't forget, it's not just a quick, I liked your little post, but it's drawing them in.
Yeah, thank you so much for catching that about the event. So we're really excited about the event. We'll see as many of you and your teams and your potentials there as possible. And everyone have a great night. Okay, bye-bye.